Dubai was never supposed to last. That sounds strange when you look at the skyline, the tallest tower on Earth, islands shaped like palm trees, hotels with their own ski slopes. But the people who built all of it knew something most visitors never find out. They had maybe 30 years. And right now, a lot of signs suggest that window is quietly closing. Not with a crash, not with chaos, with something far more unsettling, a slow, deliberate transformation into something Dubai was never designed to be. And by the end of this, you will understand why the city that represented the peak of human ambition may have already passed its most important moment. But to understand what is ending, you have to understand what it actually was. Dubai in the 1970s was a fishing village. Literally. The men who grew up there remember catching fish on the creek, living in wind tower houses made of coral and mud. There were no roads worth mentioning. There was no airport. There was almost nothing. Then they found oil. Not as much as Abu Dhabi. Not enough to coast forever. And that is the detail that changed everything. Because Sheikh Rashid, the ruler at the time, understood that the oil would run out within his children's lifetime. So while other Gulf states were simply spending, Dubai was building something else entirely. A city that would not need oil to survive. What came next was one of the most aggressive urban experiments in human history. Within 2 decades, Dubai built a port that became one of the busiest on the planet. Then an airline. Then a financial free zone that pulled in global banks. Then real estate projects so ambitious they were visible from space. The strategy was simple but ruthless. Make Dubai so useful, so spectacular, so tax-free that the world would have no choice but to show up. And the world showed up. By the early 2000s, Dubai was being described as the future. Architects, investors, celebrities, and corporations were all making the same bet, that this desert city had figured out something no one else had. Growth without limits. Luxury without apology. Speed without consequence. Here is where it gets complicated. The 2008 financial crisis hit Dubai harder than most people remember. Construction stopped overnight. Half-finished towers stood empty. The Palm Islands stalled. Dubai had to be quietly bailed out by Abu Dhabi to the tune of billions. The image of invincibility cracked just for a moment, but it cracked. What most people missed is what came after. Dubai rebuilt faster than almost any city in history. It doubled down on tourism, on Expo 2020, on positioning itself as the neutral ground where East and West could do business without friction. And it worked. In 2022 and 2023, Dubai saw record tourism numbers. Property prices surged. The city felt more alive than ever. So why are people saying the golden era is over? Because the thing that made Dubai magnetic was its sense of possibility. The feeling that you could arrive with nothing and build something real. That the rules were looser. That the city was still becoming. And quietly, without any announcement, that feeling is fading. The cost of living has quietly become one of the highest in the world. A one-bedroom apartment in a decent area will now cost you what you would pay in London or New York. Rents jumped over 40% in a single year in some districts. The people who actually built Dubai, the mid-level professionals, the young entrepreneurs, the creatives who gave the city its energy, many of them are leaving. Not dramatically, just not renewing their visa, moving to Lisbon, moving to Bali, moving somewhere the math still makes sense. There is another shift happening beneath the surface. Dubai staked its reputation on being the place where money moved freely and questions were not asked. That era is under pressure. Global tax transparency agreements, anti-money laundering regulations, FATF scrutiny, the financial friction that Dubai built its entire identity around avoiding is now showing up at its door. The city is trying to modernize its legal and financial framework without losing the thing that attracted capital in the first place. That is not an easy balance. And then there is the climate. In April 2024, Dubai received 2 years' worth of rain in a single day. The infrastructure failed. Malls flooded. Cars were abandoned on highways. The images went around the world. For a city built on the promise of control, of nature, of chaos, of outcomes, those images said something that no press release could walk back. The desert is not as manageable as the brochure suggested. None of this means Dubai is collapsing. Let's be clear about that. The city will remain powerful. The port, the airline, the financial hub, those are real and they are not going anywhere. Dubai has institutional weight now that a fishing village could never have imagined. It will continue to attract wealth. It will continue to build. But the golden era, the specific, electric, unrepeatable moment when Dubai felt like a place where the future was being invented, that window may genuinely be closing. And here is the part that should make you think. Every city that ever defined an era eventually became a monument to that era. Venice was the center of global trade. Amsterdam financed the world. London ran an empire. Each of them left behind something extraordinary. Each of them changed after their peak moment, not into nothing, but into something more ordinary, more managed, more like everywhere else. Dubai's version of that transition is happening now. It is being converted from a wild bet into an established institution, which is, in many ways, a success story. But it is also the end of something that cannot be recreated. The people who arrived in Dubai in 2005 with 2 suitcases and built something from scratch, they caught a specific wave at a specific moment. That wave has not disappeared, but it is smaller now. The gap between the dream of Dubai and the reality of Dubai has narrowed in the way that every dream narrows when it becomes real. What Dubai leaves behind is a question more than a lesson. Can a city actually be designed to outlast its own ambition? Can you build something so carefully, so deliberately, so spectacularly that it never stops being what it was meant to be? Dubai tried, harder than anywhere else on Earth. And what it built will stand for generations. The skyline is real. The infrastructure is real. The ambition that created it is permanently written into the landscape. But the golden era, that specific, dangerous, intoxicating version of Dubai that made people leave everything behind just to be near it, that version of the city belongs to a specific window of time that is now mostly behind us. Which means, if you were waiting to experience it, the clock has already been running.